Hi there, and welcome to my Brain Health Kitchen. I'm Diana Liz, and today I'm preparing overnight oats. Now, oats are considered a nutritious food, but with targeted, nutrient-dense ingredients, this becomes a superfood that will be of importance to parents of children with ADD, ADHD, people with special needs like myself, who are at high risk for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. This recipe will be of special importance to menopausal women, women with estrogen dominance, and women with the COMT gene SNP like myself. I'm also going to talk about the ingredients that must be present to turn overnight oats into a superfood. According to Dr. Daniel Amen, we eat backwards. We eat the foods that promote sleep in the morning and the foods that promote brain function in the evening. So in this video, I'm going to I hope to inform you of the foods that provide the building blocks for dopamine that should be eaten in the morning. Now, if you're watching this video because you know you should be making some dietary changes, but you're having difficulty getting started, at the end of this video, I'm going to share a strategy for getting started in making dietary changes. I went over a dozen recipes looking for one that I could work with, and some of them I eliminated immediately. Recipes that had apple juice, orange juice, and date nibs just came off the consideration. I've just gotten my A1C down to 5.4, and I don't need to be consuming foods that could put me back where I was before. So orange juice, apple juice, and date nibs off the list. Why overnight oats? Why don't I cook them on the stove? Well, because overnight oats contains more resistant starch. Why is that important? Well, because resistant starch is the starch that we consume. It goes through our digestive tract, ends up in the colon undigested, and our microbiome can feast on it. It turns out that we have about 30 trillion microorganisms that live in and on our body, and they work to create our health. So we need to feed them. My recipe starts with 1 cup of rolled oats. Now, these are oats that are not in the bulk section. I prefer a name brand, and I want to make sure that they're fresh. So 1 cup rolled oats, and one recipe called that I soak them in water. Well, I tried it. I soaked them in water overnight, and in the morning I pressed them and removed the excess water, and it tasted a little bit like cardboard, not palatable at all. And so I did a little bit more research and learned that oats contained beta-glucan, and this is a water-soluble and content that lowers cholesterol. So why would I want to pour out the one thing that can help lower cholesterol? It also helps with skin, and as I age, I need all the help for my skin. The next thing I do is I add unsweetened almond milk. And why would you want to consider almond milk? Well, it's important to me because it's very high in magnesium. And I recently learned that I carry the COMT gene SNP. We all have about 1 million gene SNPs in our body. Most of them don't do anything much. We have no awareness of them. And others have things that they can and can't do. For me, my gene SNP has trouble removing estrogen from my body and adrenaline. So magnesium is something that is very, very important for my COMT. Now, I have added into this unsweetened almond milk some goat kefir, and I have chosen not to consume milk products from cows. I choose to, whenever possible, use goat and sheep, and the reason for this is they are lower in estrogen. There is this significant difference between the estrogen in cow's milk and the estrogen in goat and sheep products. I do not need to add estrogen 1 estrone or estrogen 2 estradiol into my body when my gene SNP has trouble removing it from my body. So I take the magnesium and I add it in along with the goat kefir. I add anywhere, this is 1/4 cup golden berries. Now I tried tart cherries because there was a really interesting recipe with tart cherries, and tart cherries are supposed to impart all kinds of wonderful benefits to health benefits to us, and I didn't find any in town that were organic, and so I ordered them on Amazon. They arrived. I made the recipe, and they were like sour tissue. Sour, as much as I would like to include tart cherries in the recipe, that was not an option. So the berries are in. The next thing that I add is ground flax seeds. You don't want whole flax seeds, are too difficult for the body to digest. You want the ground flax seeds. And why do I eat this? Because it helps with removing the estrogen from our body. And ladies that have out there who have estrogen dominance, this is really, really important. And I'm adding 2 tablespoons, 1 for each serving. Now, usually you add the nuts and the berries afterwards, but I don't like the texture of coconut. I like the texture of coconut after it's soaked, so I'm going to add it, and I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice, and this was half of a small lemon to it. This helps break down the phytic acid that is in the oats. And so I'm going to stir it and make sure it's... Now you have a choice. And I must be like Goldilocks. I don't like it cooked because I don't like it hot, and I don't put it in the refrigerator because I don't like it cold. I like it just right. And so what you can do is you can cover it. It's going to be releasing phytic acid, and when I prepare my nuts, when I bring them home from the store, I buy raw almonds and raw walnuts. The first thing I do is I put them in a jar, and in the morning you can see bubbles on the top. So it does release, so that's one of the reasons why I don't choose to use the rubber. I prefer to use a dishcloth or a hand towel, and I put it over and I leave it overnight, and in the morning it's ready. Well, I cheated a little bit and prepared the rolled oats last night so they would be ready to roll, and I didn't have to stop and wait to finish this recording. So I have poured myself half of the oats into a bowl, and next I'm going to add sheep yogurt. Now, in addition to the COMT gene SNP, I also learned that I have a sour gene. So sour foods are very palatable for me. You may not like how sour the sheep yogurt is, but I find it delicious. And this is a little bit less than 1/4 cup. and we don't want to waste any of it because it is special nutrition. Adding to our microbiome, and I add the kefir. You might be curious why I added a little bit of kefir. I added kefir because kefir is very, very high in microorganisms. And if you look at the back of the bottle, you'll see a whole long list of organisms that it contains. And sheep yogurt also has some as well, but it's just incredible nutrition from goat kefir. So add a little bit of goat kefir, and now I've added the yogurt, and I'm going to add some walnuts and hazelnuts, and I buy them raw and then I sprout them for overnight for about 12 to 16 hours. And I'm going to add some, it's just about a little bit less than a quarter of a cup of cherries. Now, these cherries are not the same as these are just cherries, red cherries. They're not anything special, but they have nutrients in them as well. And wild blueberries. When you see color, you see nutrition, and in functional medicine we talk about eating from the rainbow. The wild blueberries are smaller and they have more nutrition. And according to the University of California at Davis, frozen berries do not lose their nutrition when you freeze them. I hope that's true. And lastly, I add pumpkin seeds. And why do I add pumpkin seeds? Because they are high in magnesium and they help lower glucose. So this is just a little bit of them. And once again, if I had my way, I would eat roasted pumpkin seeds with salt, but instead I buy them raw, I soak them, and then I dry them in a dehydrator. And this changes the texture a little bit, and they become more palatable to me. So the last thing that you can do is you can add some Ceylon cinnamon. And the reason I say Ceylon is because Ceylon is higher, the nutrients that it has lower inflammation and help with insulin resistance more than the other types of cinnamon. But any kind of cinnamon will be beneficial. So now I'm going to take a taste of this delicious recipe. Oh, it's just wonderful. So some of the ingredients that I have included to turn overnight oats into a brain superfood that create the building blocks for dopamine to support prefrontal brain function, which is of special importance to ADD children. Okay, some of the ingredients that I have included in this recipe to turn it into a neurotrophic brain superfood are dairy products. And I explained the difference between cow's milk and goats and sheep. And probiotics are important as well. And kefir and yogurt are helpful. Bananas. Now, I do not, I rarely will eat a banana because of insulin, but bananas are a good source to promoting the building of dopamine. Berries, nuts, especially almonds and walnuts, and chocolate does help promote brain dopamine, and also unprocessed meats, beef, chicken, turkey, and fish. And fish is especially helpful because it contains the omegas, especially salmon and mackerel. So, and eggs as well. So I hope you will take this into consideration in what you eat for breakfast. I want to take a moment to talk about the challenge of making dietary changes. It's something that's easy and simple to do, and yet very difficult. And I was recently reminded of how difficult it can be. I started thinking about what is it I could do to help Paul. I ordered Dirty Genes by Dr. Ben Lynch, and I remembered that I carried the COMT gene SNP. And so I read the book. It was not as difficult, or maybe I've been in this for so long that it's become easier, but I got through it. It's written in a way for a person, a regular, normal lay person to read. And so we got an idea for Paul, and I recognized myself and what was going on with my health, started to make dietary changes, and one of the ones was to include some foods that I'm not crazy about. Oats is not the top of my list, neither is radishes or beets. And so it becomes really important that I find a way of preparing the food that I can really enjoy. And especially when I have to give something else for that, what I'm taking in needs to equal what I've taken away as much as possible. And it's taken me a month. And I tried the water recipe. I tried one that had a lot of spices, and I don't like a lot of spices in the morning. And I tried the sour cherries. They were just a total disappointment. And I just had to keep going until I found a way that I could enjoy rolled oats. So I hope that what I've shared with you that will help inspire you. If you don't like my recipe, I hope that you'll keep experimenting and learning about your physiology. There is no brain health diet that works for everybody. Generally, if you eat fish 2 or 3 times a week, that's great. Generally, if you eat a lot of greens, that's good. But I'm having to reduce parsley, and I just got an herb garden, and thyme is one that I need to reduce. I can still eat it, but I need to take into consideration everything that's being served at the meal, because I can't have too many catechol. And unfortunately, that includes coffee and dark chocolate. So I need to work on finding something that I can enjoy when I would enjoy those foods, and what I can substitute. And I hope that you will follow me, and we're continuously learning. If you suspect that there might be something underneath that keeps you from being at your best, you may want to order Dirty Genes or listen to the David Perlmutter and Ben Lynch interview and learn more about yourself. I think that functional medicine starts with our gene and our microbiome. If you found any of this information helpful, I hope that you will consider subscribing to my channel. I'm Diana Liz, and I present quick, easy, delicious, affordable, and neurotrophic recipes to help build a better brain, one meal at a time. Bye for now.